it's easy for me to look at the world and say, well, there's this group that can help him, or there's this group that can help him, there's this group that can help him. And I think that if I had to answer for my own self of what did you do to help, there's a physical need that I have just to help. My name is Joe Lanier. I've been a member of this church for 11 years. My wife and I joined in 2012 after we had our first child, Joe Jr. We now have Joe Jr. and Ed, 11 and 6. I work at South Auction. I'm a full-time real estate auctioneer. It's all done online. The great news for what I do is that I do have some flexibility to do some things outside of work. So I was at Durden Reynolds one day, and this guy approaches my truck and is in the window, and he's asking me for money. And I was immediately turned off by it, and a little bit, he was in my personal space, and I maybe not so politely told him to get out of my personal space and that I was not going to give him any money. And I see him around town a lot, and I didn't think much of it. And then one day, got an email from Scott, and he was telling our group that we had an opportunity to help some folks that truly have nothing, that they were moving into a new apartment. And when I realized who it was the guy that I had told not so politely to leave me alone. And so it kind of hit me then that, hey, this has come back to me, and we need to help these folks. I took a day and we were able to furnish their apartment and get them set up for the first time in years in their own place. I equally felt good about what we did, but also guilty about how I treated them a couple of weeks before. When we first helped them that day, we had a list of things that they needed to do. And about a week or 10 days after we helped them initially, we went back at that list, and they had not done anything on the list. So we felt like we had done what they needed us to do, but that they had not done what they needed to do for themselves. And that's a tough realization, that as you're helping people, we can do all that we can do to help them, and sometimes they don't see it through, and that's a part of it. There's no guarantee that if you do X, Y, and Z that they're going to end up in the place that you initially expected them to go. Another gentleman approached the church, and he needed some immediate work so he could get paid and pay his, I think it's car bill at the time. And I took him out, and we worked for a day and got him the money that he needed for his car to not be repossessed. And 3 weeks later, lo and behold, his car's repossessed after we helped him get that payment. And that's tough. And it's tough to say, well, we did this. Why hasn't your life just been great all of a sudden? And it is frustrating because the reason I think it's almost a test to me is, will you stay with this guy? Can you continue to help him? But it's important to stick with these folks because these are the folks that need help. I don't think that I'm a saint by any means, but there are a lot of ways to help people. There's a list at the church that you can put your name on and do things for folks in the church that need little things. So I helped one day change some light bulbs. And those folks are great because you can go change light bulbs and then be done. These other folks that need help because of the situations they're in are more difficult. And you've got to know that the help that you're giving them is not going to get them out of the situation they're in. It's temporary at best. I always heard a saying that everybody can fake caring for something, but you can't fake showing up to do the work. And I do think that as Christians, we need to be doing some work. We can certainly pray for people, and we can certainly join groups that are helpful, and we can be a part of things that just to say that we were there. But I think that the boots on the ground helping people is what we're called to do. If Jesus were here asking me, why are you doing this? And I think I would say, well, this is what you've told us to do. This is what we're here for. A lot of people get to the end of their life and they say, well, and then they find Jesus, and for years and years they didn't know any better. And they had every excuse. I just didn't know. Well, I know, so I've got to do something with that knowledge. And, I can look at the last 20 years of being an adult, and I've fallen short. I haven't done what I could do. And probably not doing what I could do now, but these little opportunities as they present themselves are things that I can do. So I want to do that.